Let's take you to our other top story now. Health Minister Dr. Joe Phaahla says his department is expecting all 213 priority hospitals in various provinces to be exempted from load shedding by June. Phaahla was briefing the media alongside other ministers on the state of disaster on Eskom. President Cyril Ramaphosa made the declaration during his State of the Nation address. This, of course, was triggered by the worsening energy crisis in our country, and our reporter Manqoba Mchunu has been following that story for us, and he joins us now live from Pretoria. Manqoba, the different ministers, of course, just trying to clarify some of those regulations that were set out by the Cooperative Governance Minister just 2 or 3 days ago. What did they say exactly around the Auditor General and her role in this particular process?
Well, Masiko, you recall that, of course, one of the concerns with these new regulations and the state of disaster has been the issue of, the emergency procurement. And the questions, of course, is that this opens that particular, channel for, those who want to be corrupt or those who want to benefit through corrupt means to do so, as we had seen during that state of disaster during COVID-19. And, of course, this has been raised by some of the political parties who have raised concern about corruption, given that there will be emergency procurement that will be taking place in this state of disaster. And of course, these were some of the questions that were raised. But the minister is saying that, of course, this is something that they are closely watching, the issue of corruption. And in fact, that's where the Auditor General will come in, Masiko, in terms of making sure that the system or the monies or the emergency procurement will not be abused, and there will be regular audits that will be conducted. In fact, real-time audits, she says, that will be conducted to ensure that this does not happen. And she says that, in fact, from when this was declared on the 27th of February, of course, they will be involving the Auditor General's office to ensure that on a monthly basis, at least, they look at some of these procurement and whether money is being spent exactly the way it should be to deal and mitigate the impacts of load shedding, but also to procure renewable energies and what's needed to mitigate the impact of load shedding. So that's where the Auditor General is going to come in as far as emergency procurement is concerned, to ensure that there's no looting or corruption that takes place as a result of it.
And I know that Dr. Joe Phaahla, as the Health Minister, just elaborated a little further around the 213 facilities that need to be exempted from load shedding. What did he say in particular around this?
So what we know, Masiko, is that all in all, there are 213 facilities that have been identified. Of course, these are hospital high-risk facilities where patients would need, extra care. They will need to be, taken care of by, physicians. And he says that they were able to identify 213 of them. And what we know so far, Masiko, is that of those 213, 76 are already exempted. So these are the ones that are currently not, being affected by load shedding, but there's still 137 of those facilities, mainly hospitals, that still need to be exempted from this. And the problem, we understand, Masiko, is that some of them fall under Eskom. There are about 91 of them that fall under Eskom, and about 47, in fact, I think it's 47 that fall under Eskom and 91 that fall under the municipalities. And so the problem with those institutions is the fact that some of them are intertwined. Their networks are intertwined with residents as well as businesses, and so it's not easy for them to be exempted, given the fact that they use the same sort of cables with those businesses and residents. So they are looking at ways now to actually separate those cables and to have new ones installed so that these institutions can then be exempted from load shedding. And the minister is saying that they are hoping to have those business plans looking into this by the end of March. Already the process has started, and they are hoping that come April and May, the procurement for that will begin in earnest. But of course, he noted in Masiko the fact that there are many other health institutions in the country, clinics as well, but they had to look at those that are critical, that provide the critical care for patients, and that's how they were then able to come up with that number of 213 of them that will be exempted. Of course, we know at this stage it's only about 76 that have been exempted so far.
And Manqoba, just lastly, in terms of the interim Eskom CEO, Khalid Kasim, he had the opportunity to answer some questions as well. I would think that this will be a mammoth task for Eskom going forward with regards to exempting facilities that are in the communities that are being load shed. What did he say around the technicalities of this whole national state of disaster?
Well, Masiko, of course, Eskom saying that, what they want to see from this is reduced load shedding and a reduced impact of load shedding, especially to South Africans. They also say that, they're not happy with where we stand in terms of, energy supply in the country. The fact that we're now between stages 4 and 6 in the country. Of course, they're saying that they're going to be working hand in hand with government to ensure that, the state of disaster is implemented and that they're able to mitigate the impacts of load shedding on communities, on businesses, but also just noting the fact that, they'll make sure that, Masiko, whatever they do, they're not going to compromise the grid any further or cause any more distress to the grid. All of what will be done in accordance, with the regulations, but also to ensure that they protect the grid from collapsing. They will then be working hand in hand with government on some of those measures. But of course, Eskom saying that, they want to ensure that load shedding is minimized. We know that they have also, the ministers have spoken about, a certain time frame that they want, government saying that within 18 months they want to see the end of load shedding. But of course, we know, Masiko, it won't be as easy as that. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And of course, as the regulations have now been gazetted, there's still a lot of assessments that will be made by the ministers of different departments as to how they want to be assisted. And so it's still a long way, to go for the country. But Eskom saying that they are hoping that they will be able to deal with the impacts of load shedding soon, and that hopefully South Africans will likely see the results of that soon.